Maya Rodriguez pressed her back against the hot metal wall of the crashed transport ship. Her breathing was steady, but her heart was beating fast. The red sand of the alien planet stretched out in all directions. Sharp rocks stuck up from the ground like broken teeth. The sun was bright and hot, making everything look orange and deadly. She had been walking patrol with her team when the attack happened. 5 good soldiers, all dead now. The aliens had picked the perfect spot to attack them. The narrow path between 2 rock walls had trapped her team with no way to escape. The enemy weapons made bright flashes and terrible sounds. Her friends had fallen one by one until only she was left. Maya checked her rifle. The display showed she had enough bullets for now, but not for a long fight. Her combat suit was working well. The cooling system kept her from getting too hot in the alien sun. Small screens inside her helmet showed her where the enemies were hiding. The computer in her suit was always watching and thinking, ready to help her fight. The aliens were called Zephyrians. They looked like giant bugs with hard shells and too many arms. Their eyes were big and round like mirrors. Maya had been fighting them for over a year on 3 different planets. She knew how they thought and how they moved. They were smart and careful. They did not waste ammunition or take foolish risks. Most importantly, they never left human soldiers alive if they could help it. That worried her. If they wanted her dead, she would be dead already. They had good shooters and better weapons, but here she was, still breathing behind this piece of metal. That meant they had plans for her. Plans that probably did not end well for Maya Rodriguez. The Zephyrians made clicking sounds when they talked to each other. Maya could hear them, moving around the rocks, but they were not trying to kill her. They were waiting for something. She wiped sweat from her face and tried to think of a way out of this mess. Her suit showed 3 enemy soldiers on her left side and 4 more on her right. More were probably behind her, but the sensors could not see through the thick metal of the crashed ship. The path ahead was open, but it led deeper into the canyon where more enemies were certainly waiting. Maya had joined the Space Marines when she was 18 years old. That was 6 years ago. She had seen combat on 4 different worlds and survived battles that killed better soldiers than her. She was not ready to die on this red desert planet far from home. The clicking sounds got louder. The aliens were talking more now, probably making their plan. Maya checked her weapons again. Her rifle had smart bullets that could find targets on their own. Her pistol was loaded with explosive rounds. She had 3 grenades on her belt and a combat knife that could cut through alien armor. It was not much against a whole squad of Zephyrians, but it would have to do. She closed her eyes for a moment and listened. The alien voices were coming from different directions now. They were moving to surround her completely. Whatever they had planned, it was about to happen. Maya opened her eyes and saw movement between the rocks. A Zephyrian soldier was moving carefully from one hiding spot to another. Its weapon was not pointed at her. That was strange. If it wanted to kill her, now would be the perfect time. Instead, it seemed to be getting into position for something else. More movement caught her attention. Another alien was climbing up, the rock wall above her. It carried something in its clawed hands, but it was not a weapon. The object was small and round, like a ball. Maya had never seen anything like it before. The clicking sound stopped. The desert became very quiet except for the wind blowing through the rocks. Maya could feel sweat running down her back inside her suit. The silence was worse than the noise. It meant something was about to happen. She raised her rifle and looked through the scope. The alien on the rocks was still there, holding the strange round object. 2 more Zephyrians had appeared on the other side of the canyon. They were all watching her, but none of them were shooting. This was not how these fights usually went. Maya tried to remember her training about alien weapons and tactics. The Zephyrians used plasma rifles that could melt through armor. They had grenades that created poisonous gas. They had vehicles with big guns and personal shields that stopped bullets. But she had never heard of them using capture weapons. They always fought to kill, unless they needed prisoners for some reason. The thought made her stomach feel cold. Human prisoners were valuable to alien scientists. They could study human bodies and learn about human technology. Maya had heard terrible stories about what happened to captured soldiers. She promised herself that she would not be taken alive. She aimed at the alien on the rocks and put her finger on the trigger. Before she could shoot, something hit the ground next to her feet. It was small and made a soft hissing sound. Gray, smoke started coming out of it. Maya held her breath and tried to move away from the smoke, but more objects were falling around her. The Zephyrians were throwing their capture weapons from all directions. The gray smoke was getting thicker and starting to burn her eyes even through her helmet's protection. Her suit's air system kicked in, trying to filter out the poison gas. Warning lights started flashing on her display. The computer was telling her that dangerous chemicals were in the air around her. Maya knew she had only seconds before the gas would get through her suit's protection. She ran toward the open path, trying to get away from the poison cloud. Her boots slipped on the loose sand, but she kept moving. Behind her, she could hear the Zephyrians clicking excitedly. They were following her, but not shooting. They wanted to catch her alive. Maya made it 20 steps before her legs started to feel heavy. The poison was working even through her suit's filters. Her vision was getting blurry and her hands were shaking. She tried to keep running, but her body was not listening to her commands anymore. She fell to her knees in the red sand. Her rifle dropped from her hands. The Zephyrians were getting closer, but they looked like shapes in a fog now. Maya tried to reach for her pistol, but her arm would not move the way she wanted it to. The last thing she saw clearly was a Zephyrian commander walking toward her. It had special markings on its shell that showed it was important. The alien looked down at her with its big round eyes and made clicking sounds that almost sounded like laughter. Maya Rodriguez closed her eyes and fell forward into the sand. The poison had won. But deep inside her combat suit, systems were already starting to work. Systems the aliens did not know about. Systems that would make them very sorry they had decided to take her alive. The Zephyrians picked up her unconscious body and carried her toward their hidden base. They thought they had caught a valuable prisoner. They had no idea they were bringing their own destruction home with them. In her dreams, Maya could hear her drill sergeant shouting at new recruits back on Earth. "Remember, Marines," the old man would say, "the enemy's biggest mistake is thinking they know what humans can do. Show them they're wrong." Maya Rodriguez was about to show them exactly how wrong they could be. Maya Rodriguez felt like she was swimming up through thick water. Her head hurt badly and her mouth was dry. She tried to open her eyes, but the light was too bright. Everything around her made strange sounds and smelled wrong. She was not on the battlefield anymore. She was lying on something hard and cold. Metal straps held her arms and legs down. She could not move even when she tried hard. The poison was still in her body, making everything slow and difficult. Her combat suit was still on, but it felt different now, heavier somehow. Maya opened her eyes slowly. She was in a room with white walls and bright lights. Strange machines surrounded her table. They made beeping sounds and showed numbers she did not understand. This was not a human place. The air smelled like chemicals and something else, something that reminded her of dead insects. 3 Zephyrians stood near her table. They were wearing white coats like doctors. Their big round eyes stared at her while they made clicking sounds to each other. One of them held a pad and was writing things down. Another one was looking at the machines that were connected to her body. Maya tried to speak but only made a small sound. Her throat felt like sandpaper. The Zephyrians noticed she was awake and got excited. They clicked faster and moved closer to her table. She wanted to fight them, but her body would not listen to her brain. "The human female is conscious," said one of the aliens. It spoke English but with a strange accent. Its voice sounded like metal scraping against metal. "Heart rate is increasing. Brain activity shows fear and anger." The second alien touched something on one of the machines. "Excellent. The toxin is working perfectly. She cannot move, but she can think and feel everything. This will make our test much more useful." Maya felt cold fear in her stomach. Tests. They were going to do experiments on her while she was awake and unable to move. She had heard stories about this from other soldiers, stories that gave people nightmares. The third alien came closer to her face. It had scars on its shell and looked older than the others. "Human soldier, you are now property of the Zephyrian," Science Division. We will learn much from your body. Your species has interesting abilities that we must understand. Maya tried to move her head away but could not. The alien's breath smelled like rotting meat. Its clawed hand touched her helmet and she heard clicking sounds as it tried to remove her suit's protection systems. "Be careful with the armor," said the first alien. "Human technology is crude, but sometimes dangerous. Their suits have security, systems that can hurt us." The scarred alien made an annoying sound that might have been laughter. "This one is helpless. Look at her. She cannot even speak properly. The poison has made her as weak as a human child." Maya wanted to tell them they were wrong, but no words came out. Inside her suit, she could feel tiny vibrations. The combat system was still working, even though she could not control it. Her enhanced body was fighting the poison, trying to clean it out of her blood. But it was taking time. More Zephyrians came into the room. These ones wore different clothes and carried weapons. They looked like soldiers, not scientists. Their leader had bright red markings on his shell that showed he was important. "How long before we can begin the real experiments?" asked the soldier leader. His voice was deeper than the scientists'. "Command wants information about human enhancement programs. We need to know how much stronger their soldiers are than their civilians." The old scientist looked at his machines. "The toxin will keep her paralyzed for at least 2 days. Maybe 3. Her body is fighting it but not winning. We can start the cutting procedures in 6 hours." Maya felt sick. Cutting procedures. They were going to cut her open while she was awake. She tried again to move, but nothing happened. Her fingers would not even twitch. But deep inside her suit, things were happening that the aliens could not see. The combat enhancement system had been designed by the smartest human scientists and engineers. It was built to keep soldiers alive in impossible situations. The nanomachines in her blood were already breaking down the alien poison molecule by molecule. Her modified immune system was learning to fight the toxin. Her enhanced metabolism was working faster than normal human biology. What the Zephyrians thought would take days would actually take hours. What they thought was permanent was only temporary. But Maya did not let them see any hope in her eyes. She needed them to think she was helpless. "Prepare the surgical tools," said the old scientist. "We will start with the arms and legs. I want to see how their enhanced muscles work. Then we will examine the brain and nervous system." The soldier leader made clicking sounds of approval. "Good. Make sure you document everything. When we attack their next colony, we need to know exactly how to kill their enhanced soldiers." Maya felt anger burning in her chest, but she kept her face blank. These monsters were planning to attack human colonies. They wanted to use what they learned from torturing her to kill more of her people. She made a promise to herself that they would never get that chance. The aliens left her alone. With their machines for a while, Maya used the time to test her body carefully. She tried to move each finger and toe just a little bit. Most of them still would not respond, but she thought her left thumb might have twitched slightly. The enhancement system was working. Her suit's medical display was too blurry to read clearly, but she could see some of the numbers changing. Her heart rate was getting stronger. Her blood pressure was rising. The nanomachines were winning their war against the alien toxin. More time passed. Maya pretended to sleep while her body healed itself. She could hear the Zephyrians talking in the next room. They were discussing what parts of her they would cut off first. They seemed to think it was funny that humans felt pain. She began to notice things about the room she was in. There was one door and no windows. The ceiling was low and made of metal plates. The walls had equipment built into them. This was some kind of medical facility, probably underground. The air felt recycled and stale. Maya counted the machines around her table. 7 different devices were monitoring her body. 2 were connected to her suit systems. The others had wires that touched her skin through openings the aliens had made in her armor. If she could move fast enough when the time came, she could destroy all of them in seconds. The enhancement system was designed to activate fully when her body was in extreme danger. Right now, it was working slowly to keep her alive. But when she needed it, the system could make her much stronger and faster than any normal human. Strong enough to break metal restraints, fast enough to fight multiple enemies at once. Maya Rodriguez lay still on the alien table and waited. She listened to the monsters planning to torture her. She felt their machines studying her body. She smelled their excitement at the thought of causing her pain. And she let her anger grow cold and hard like ice. Soon the Zephyrians would learn something important about human enhancement programs. They would learn that the biggest mistake you can make is giving an enhanced soldier time to recover. They would learn that humans were much more dangerous than they thought. But by the time they learned these lessons, it would be too late to do anything about it. The old scientist came back into the room carrying a tray of sharp tools. He looked at Maya's still face and made satisfied clicking sounds. Perfect. The human is ready for surgery. This will be very educational. Maya Rodriguez smiled inside her mind. Yes, she thought. This is going to be very educational indeed. Maya Rodriguez lay perfectly still while her body fought the alien poison. The Zephyrians thought she was helpless, but inside her combat suit, amazing things were happening. The enhancement system that human scientists had built into her body was working like a tiny army of doctors and mechanics. Millions of nanomachines flowed through her blood like microscopic submarines. They found every molecule of alien toxin and broke it apart piece by piece. Each poison molecule was captured, studied, and destroyed. The nanomachines learned how the toxin worked and taught her immune system to recognize it as an enemy. Her enhanced liver was working 10 times faster than a normal human liver. It cleaned the broken pieces of poison from her blood and sent them to her kidneys to be removed from her body. Her modified heart pumped stronger and faster, moving clean blood to every part of her body that needed healing. The combat enhancement program had cost the human government billions of dollars and 20 years of research. Only the best soldiers got chosen for the program. Maya had been selected because she was smart, tough, and never gave up. The scientists had rebuilt parts of her body to make her the perfect warrior. Her muscles were different from normal human muscles. They had synthetic fibers mixed with natural ones that made them much stronger. Her bones had been treated with special chemicals that made them harder to break. Her nervous system had been upgraded with faster connections between her brain and body. Most importantly, her body could heal itself in ways that seemed impossible. Cuts closed in minutes instead of days. Broken bones fixed themselves in hours. Poison that would kill a normal person just made her sick for a while. The Zephyrians had no idea what they were dealing with. Maya could feel the changes happening inside her. The numbness in her fingers was going away slowly. She could wiggle her toes just a little bit now. Her vision was getting clearer and the fog in her brain was lifting. But she had to be very careful not to let the aliens see any of this. The old scientist came back into the room with 2 helpers. They were carrying more machines and tools. Maya watched them through half-closed eyes while they set up their equipment. They were talking about which parts of her body they wanted to examine first. The muscle tissue will be most interesting, said the old one. Humans are physically weak compared to us, but their soldiers seem much stronger than their civilians. There must be artificial enhancements we can study. One of the younger scientists touched Maya's arm through a gap in her suit. The skin feels different from normal human skin. Tougher somehow. And look at these muscles. They are much larger than they should be for a female of her size. Maya wanted to grab the alien's claw and break it, but she kept her body relaxed. The nanomachines in her blood were almost finished cleaning out the poison. Her strength was coming back fast now. She could feel power flowing through her muscles like electricity. The third scientist was looking at the machines that monitored her body. Strange. Her heart rate and brain activity are increasing. The toxin should be making her weaker, not stronger. The old scientist made clicking sounds of concern. Increase the monitoring. Human biology is unpredictable. We must be ready if something goes wrong. Maya almost smiled. Something was definitely going wrong for them, but they did not know it yet. Her suit's internal systems were coming back online one by one. The tactical computer was mapping the facility around her. The weapons systems were charging their power cells. The stealth systems were preparing to hide her from enemy sensors. She could hear sounds from other parts of the building now that her hearing was getting better. There were lots of Zephyrians moving around, vehicles starting and stopping, the hum of big machines and computers. This was not just a small research lab. This was a major military base. Her suit's passive sensors were working even though she could not access the displays yet. They were recording everything they could detect: radio signals, heat patterns, vibrations, chemical traces in the air. When Maya could finally move again, she would know exactly where she was and what she was facing. The enhancement system was designed to work in stages. First, it would clean the poison from her body and restore basic functions. Then it would optimize her performance for combat. Finally, if she was in extreme danger, it would activate emergency protocols that would make her incredibly strong and fast for a short time. Maya was still in Stage 1, but she could feel Stage 2 beginning. Her metabolism was speeding up, burning energy faster to fuel her enhanced systems. Her reflexes were getting sharper. Her vision was becoming clearer and more detailed. The combat computer in her brain was starting to process tactical information again. The aliens were still busy with their preparations. They had no idea that their prisoner was becoming more dangerous every minute. Maya used the time to plan her escape. She would have to move very fast when the moment came. There would be no second chances. Her suit's memory banks contained detailed information about Zephyrian anatomy and technology. She knew exactly where to hit them to cause maximum damage. She knew how their weapons worked and how to turn them against their owners. She knew their tactics and their weaknesses. More importantly, she had something the aliens did not expect: rage. Cold, focused anger that burned in her chest like a flame. They had killed her friends. They were planning to torture her for information. They wanted to use what they learned to attack human colonies and kill innocent people. Maya Rodriguez had sworn an oath to protect humanity from exactly this kind of threat. She took that oath very seriously. The old scientist picked up a cutting tool that looked like a cross between a knife and a laser. "We will start with a small incision in the arm muscle. I want to see how the enhancement fibers are connected to the natural tissue." Maya felt the last traces of poison leave her bloodstream. The nanomachines had won their battle. Stage 2 of the enhancement process kicked in fully. Her strength doubled, then tripled. Her reaction time dropped to almost superhuman levels. Combat stimulants flooded her system, sharpening her focus to a razor edge. She was ready. But Maya did not move yet. She needed the aliens to get closer. She needed them to feel safe and confident. She needed them to make the mistake of thinking she was still helpless. The scientist moved the cutting tool toward her arm. Maya could smell the ozone from its energy blade. She could hear the alien's breathing and the clicking of its claws on the tool's handle. She could see every detail of its compound eyes and the patterns on its shell. "This may cause some discomfort," the scientist said in its terrible accent. "But do not worry. We will keep you alive for many days of testing." Maya Rodriguez looked up at the monster that wanted to torture her. She let it see the intelligence in her eyes for the first time since waking up. She let it see that she was not afraid anymore. "You made one mistake," she said in a clear, strong voice. The scientist stepped back in surprise. The cutting tool wavered in his clawed hand. "Impossible. The toxin should prevent speech for hours more." Maya smiled, and it was not a nice smile. It was the smile of a predator that had been pretending to be prey. "You gave me time to get angry." The metal restraints that held her arms and legs snapped like thin wire as Maya Rodriguez sat up on the examination table. The real fight was about to begin. Maya Rodriguez moved like lightning. The old scientist barely had time to step back before her fist crushed his throat. The cutting tool fell from his clawed hands as he collapsed to the floor, making choking sounds through his broken windpipe. "Eat you." Other two Zephyrians tried to run, but Maya was faster. Her enhanced muscles launched her off the examination table in one smooth motion. She landed between the aliens and the door, blocking their escape. Her combat suit's systems were fully online now, feeding her information and targeting data. The younger scientist reached for an alarm button on the wall. Maya's hand shot out and grabbed his wrist, squeezing until she heard bones crack. The alien screamed and fell to his knees. She silenced him with a quick strike to the back of his neck. "Goodbye." Third scientist was smarter. He pulled out a small weapon and pointed it at Maya's head. Stay back, human, or I will kill you. Maya looked at the weapon and smiled. Her suit's computer had already identified it as a low-power stunner, designed to hurt, but not kill valuable test subjects. That toy will not stop me, she said. The alien fired anyway. The energy beam hit Maya in the chest and spread across her armor like water. Her suit's shields absorbed the blast easily. The scientist's compound eyes went wide with fear and confusion. Maya grabbed the weapon and crushed it in her hand. Then she grabbed the scientist and threw him against the wall hard enough to crack his shell. He slid to the floor and did not get up again. The whole fight had taken less than 30 seconds. Maya stood in the middle of the room, breathing easily, while 3 dead aliens lay around her feet. Her suit's displays showed green lights across all systems. She was ready for war. Alarms started blaring throughout the facility. Red lights flashed on the walls and ceiling. The sounds of running feet and shouting voices came from the corridors outside. The Zephyrians had figured out something was wrong, but they had no idea how wrong things were about to get. Maya picked up one of the alien weapons from a dead scientist's belt. It was heavier than human guns but felt good in her hands. Her suit's computer analyzed the weapon instantly and showed her how to use it. She checked the power cell and saw it was fully charged. The door to the medical room burst open and 4 Zephyrian soldiers rushed in with their weapons ready. They expected to find a helpless human prisoner and 3 living scientists. Instead, they found Maya Rodriguez standing over 3 corpses with death in her eyes. The first soldier got off 1 shot before Maya put 3 holes in his chest. The second tried to dive for cover behind a medical machine, but Maya's enhanced reflexes let her track him easily. Her shots punched through the machine and the alien behind it. The third and fourth soldiers were smarter. They tried to work together, one shooting while the other moved to a better position. But Maya was faster than both of them. She rolled behind the examination table and came up shooting. Both aliens were dead before their bodies hit the floor. Maya stepped over the corpses and moved to the doorway. Her suit's sensors showed her the layout of the facility. She was underground in a large complex with dozens of rooms and corridors. Her tactical computer was already planning the best route to cause maximum damage. The corridor outside was full of running Zephyrians. Some were soldiers with weapons. Others looked like scientists and technicians trying to escape the fighting. Maya did not care which was which, they were all enemies and enemies died. She stepped into the corridor and opened fire. Her stolen weapon spat bolts of superheated plasma that burned through alien armor like paper. The first group of soldiers went down before they could return fire. The second group lasted a few seconds longer, but not much. Maya moved through the facility like a force of nature. Her enhanced speed and reflexes made her almost impossible to hit. Her suit's armor turned the few shots that did connect into harmless sparks. Every door she opened revealed more targets. Every corridor she entered became a killing field. The Zephyrians tried to set up defensive positions, but Maya's tactical computer showed her exactly how to defeat them. She used grenades to clear rooms full of enemies. She turned their own weapons against them. She moved too fast for them to coordinate their attacks. Her suit's sensors were mapping the entire facility while she fought. She could see where the important targets were. The command center was 3 levels up. The ammunition storage was 2 levels down. The vehicle bay was on the same level she was on now, just 50 meters to the east. Maya decided to hit the vehicle bay first. If the aliens could not escape, they could not warn their friends about what was happening here. She fought her way through 2 more groups of soldiers and reached the heavy doors that led to the garage area. The doors were locked and reinforced, but Maya's enhanced strength made short work of them. She grabbed the handles and pulled until the metal bent and broke. The doors fell inward with a crash that echoed through the facility. Inside the vehicle bay, dozens of Zephyrian transports and fighting vehicles sat in neat rows. Mechanics worked frantically to get them started while soldiers tried to organize a defense. Maya counted at least 40 enemies in the large space. She pulled the pins from 2 grenades and threw them into the crowd of aliens. The explosions sent bodies flying and set several vehicles on fire. Fuel cells began exploding in chain reactions that filled the air with smoke and flames. Maya waded into the chaos with her weapon blazing. The few soldiers who survived the explosions could not see clearly through the smoke. She could see them perfectly through her suit's enhanced vision systems. It was like shooting targets at a practice range. Some of the aliens tried to surrender, dropping their weapons and making clicking sounds that might have been pleas for mercy. Maya remembered her dead friends lying in the red sand of the canyon. She remembered the scientists planning to cut her apart while she was awake. She remembered their plans to attack human colonies. She showed them exactly as much mercy as they would have shown her. The vehicle bay became a tomb filled with burning, metal and alien corpses. Maya stood in the middle of the destruction and reloaded her weapon. Her suit's power levels were still good. Her ammunition was holding out. Her enhanced body felt strong and ready for more fighting. The facility's communication system crackled to life. A voice speaking in the Zephyrian language echoed through the corridors. Maya's suit translated the words automatically. All units. All units. We have a rogue human loose in the facility. It has killed dozens of our people and destroyed the vehicle bay. Use maximum force. This is not a capture mission anymore. Kill the human on sight. Maya smiled grimly as she headed for the stairs that led to the upper levels. The Zephyrians were finally starting to understand what they were dealing with, but it was much too late for that knowledge to do them any good. She had 2 more targets to destroy before her work here was done. The command center would be next, followed by the ammunition storage. After that, she would find a way to get word back to human command about this place and what the aliens had been planning. But first, she had a lot more aliens to kill. Maya Rodriguez checked her weapon one more time and started climbing the stairs. The real destruction was just getting started. Maya Rodriguez climbed the stairs with death following behind her. Every step left bloody footprints on the metal floor. Her stolen weapon was running low on power, but she had taken more guns from the dead aliens in the vehicle bay. She carried 4 different weapons now, ready for whatever came next. The second level of the facility was different from the first. Instead of medical rooms and laboratories, this level had offices and meeting rooms. Maps covered the walls showing human colonies and military bases. Planning documents were scattered on tables. Maya realized this was where the Zephyrians planned their attacks on her people. She moved through the offices like a ghost, checking each room for enemies. Most were empty now. The aliens who worked here had either fled or gone to fight her on the lower levels. But Maya found something more valuable than targets. She found information. Computer screens showed detailed plans for attacking human settlements, lists of weapons and troop numbers, maps marking weak points in human defenses. The Zephyrians had been planning a major offensive that would have killed thousands of innocent people. Maya's enhanced memory recorded everything she saw. Her suit's computer copied files and downloaded data whenever she passed a terminal. When she got back to human space, the military would know exactly what the aliens had been planning. She heard footsteps in the corridor behind her. Maya spun around and saw 6 Zephyrian soldiers moving carefully through the rooms she had already cleared. They were being smart now, working as a team and watching each other's backs. Too little, too late. Maya waited until they were all in the same room. Then she threw a grenade through the doorway. The explosion shook the entire level and sent pieces of alien soldiers flying in all directions. When the smoke cleared, nothing was moving in that room anymore. The stairs to the 3rd level were guarded by a heavy security door. Maya could see through her suit's sensors that at least 20 aliens waited on the other side. They had set up a crossfire pattern that would cut down anyone who tried to come through the door. Maya smiled and pulled out her last 2 grenades. Instead of going through the door, she blew a hole in the floor above the waiting soldiers. She dropped the grenades through the hole and listened to the panicked clicking sounds as the aliens realized their perfect ambush had become a death trap. The explosions brought down part of the ceiling and filled the stairwell with dust and debris. Maya jumped through the hole she had made and landed in the middle of the destruction. A few Zephyrians were still alive but badly hurt. She finished them quickly and moved on toward the command center. The 3rd level was where the facility's most important people worked. Maya could tell because the walls were thicker and the doors were stronger. Emergency lighting cast strange shadows as she moved through corridors lined with battle damage. Her suit's sensors showed massive activity ahead. The remaining aliens were making their last stand. She found the command center behind blast doors. That would have stopped a tank. Maya looked at the thick metal barriers and shook her head. The Zephyrian still did not understand what human enhancement technology could do. Maya placed her hands on the doors and pushed. Her enhanced muscles strained against the metal. Slowly, impossibly, the blast doors began to bend. Warning alarms screamed as the locks broke and the doors crumpled like paper. Maya stepped through the ruined entrance into the most important room in the facility. The command center was huge, filled with computers and communication equipment. Dozens of screens showed military information from across the galaxy. At least 30 Zephyrians waited inside, including several with the markings of high-ranking officers. "Impossible," said the alien commander, a huge Zephyrian with golden stripes on his shell. "No human can break through blast doors with bare hands." Maya raised her weapon and smiled. "You should have done more research before you decided to capture me." The battle in the command center was short but intense. The Zephyrians had good weapons and strong defensive positions, but Maya had something better. She had rage and the tools to use it effectively. Her enhanced reflexes let her dodge their shots while her return fire found its targets with deadly accuracy. The alien commander was the last one standing. He tried to reach a self-destruct button that would destroy the entire facility. But Maya was faster. She put 3 shots in his chest and watched him fall beside his broken dreams of conquest. Maya stood alone in the command center, surrounded by dead aliens and broken equipment. She could have stopped there. The facility was effectively destroyed and most of its personnel were dead. But she remembered the scientists who had planned to torture her. She remembered their excitement at the thought of causing her pain. She was not finished yet. Maya downloaded everything she could from the command center computers: battle plans, troop movements, intelligence reports. The human military would want all of this information. Then she set charges that would destroy the computers and started toward her final target. The ammunition storage was deep underground, below even the medical level where she had started. Maya fought her way down through the facility's remaining defenders. There were not many left now. Most of the aliens were dead or had fled into the desert outside. The storage area was a massive underground chamber filled with weapons, explosives, and ammunition. Enough firepower to supply a small army. Maya looked at all the alien weapons that would have been used against human colonies, and felt satisfied that they would never hurt anyone now. She placed all her remaining explosives in strategic locations around the storage chamber. The blast would be big enough to level the entire facility and leave a crater where it had stood. No one would ever know exactly what had happened here, but that was fine with Maya. The important thing was that it would never happen again. Maya made her way back to the surface as fast as she could. The timer on her explosives gave her 10 minutes to get clear of the blast zone. She fought through the last few Zephyrian soldiers who tried to stop her and burst through the facility's main entrance into the alien desert. The red sun was setting, painting the rocky landscape in shades of blood and fire. Maya ran away from the hidden entrance as fast as her enhanced legs could carry her. Behind her, she could hear the last few aliens who had escaped the facility calling for help on their radio systems. They were too late. The explosions started deep underground and worked their way up through every level. The ground shook like an earthquake as the ammunition storage detonated. Fire and smoke shot up through the facility's ventilation shafts. The hidden base that had taken years to build was destroyed in seconds. Maya kept running until she was several kilometers away from the destruction. Then she turned around and watched the pillar of black smoke rising into the alien sky. Somewhere, in that smoke were the ashes of 800 enemy soldiers and all their plans to attack human colonies. She activated her emergency beacon and sat down on a rock to wait for rescue. Her suit's medical system showed she was tired but uninjured. Her ammunition was gone and her weapons were empty, but she was alive and free. Most importantly, she had stopped the Zephyrians from carrying out their plans. 3 hours later, a human dropship found her sitting calmly in the desert. The pilot stared at the destruction visible on the horizon and asked what had happened. Maya Rodriguez stood up and brushed red sand off her armor. "They tried to poison me," she said simply. "It did not work out the way they planned." As the dropship carried her home, Maya looked down at the smoking crater that used to be an enemy base. The Zephyrians had learned an important lesson about human soldiers today. She hoped they would remember it the next time they thought about attacking innocent people, but if they forgot, Maya Rodriguez would be happy to teach them again.